Bismillah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Introduction, people. My name is Andromeda Harahap,
So my name is Rafadinata Idris.
and we are here to talk about the sharing overseas program as in this podcast.
Yes. So for the first, let me ask you something like a simple one. Have you ever traveled or stay abroad for a long time, for a long period, and where did you go?
For going abroad, like going to another country, is I've ever been to Singapore or Malaysia, and there I would stay at the hotel.
Yes.
Yes, and what's it? And this country is a very good country, like as a developed country,
Yes.
like Singapore, with so many infrastructure and lots of tourists over there, especially in the Singapore capital city, and also in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. They have a lot of people over there traveling across the oceans and go to the country for just staying abroad or just visit it for some holiday. And yeah, I do it for my holiday with my family when I was a kid. It's like just a family tour with my dad, with my parents and my siblings. There we are just what have a culinary and going to any other tourism place like Petronas or maybe in Merlion statue and etc. What
Oh,
about you?
that's amazing. But about me, like I never traveled abroad around apa, like um overseas like that. But I want to go that some country like Singapore also, because Singapore have a good people and of course kind people. So many cultures over there because a lot of people traveling to the Singapore. Then
Oh.
next is what motivate you to seek an overseas experience?
As we know, right now Indonesia isn't a developed country; it's a developing country. So basically, Indonesia has been beneath any other country in Southeast Asia, especially from Singapore and Malaysia. So my only once why do I need to, why do I wants to go to abroad is I want to seek another experience to increase my skills, or I want to learn the culture and also how do they manage their time, their quality of learning, and also the quality of work and the way of they can could make their countries feel better or great in the place where they are placed. And I think the people of the countries of the developed country are very good because they are like or a smart people with working in a smart way and also have a good time management. And I want myself to can do the same as what they do or could be better. So that's why I want to go abroad to learn their culture, how do they manage their time, their works, and how can they work as smart as they do
Yes.
daily. So I want to do it myself.
So it
What
may,
about you? What do you think?
I think that uh, if you go or you abroad to the country that uh, have a good time management people or have a good habit for
Yes.
the simply, and then that's very good to make more better for yourself because you will learn the new things that you never learned before.
Yeah, I know.
So, the next question is, what is your first thing that you would do if you arrive in a new country today?
I would just convince myself that I am now a stranger, that no one would know me as what the people of my country know me. So basically, I was just being an NPC, so I can ask any people for
Yes.
to introduce me of their country or their cultures. Like maybe once I arrived in the what Middle East, I will just uh, talking with them and learned about their culture and how did they act with strangers, because as we know we are now as strangers and we don't know how did they act with strangers, so we need to be careful. Not all the people are open to the native, like most of people in Europe or in Asia are very close to a native, but some of them are open to native. So basically, you just keep calm and don't panic when you are in another country, so you can do better. What about you? What do you think?
For the first time that when I uh, just arrived in a new country, maybe a little bit same like you, but I will for the first I will like scanning first the environment, and I'll see the new people that will maybe open to the strangers, that I will ask him or ask her for introduce me this country. What is the like uh, daily activity from people usually. Then the next, do you prefer traveling for leisure or for professional or academic growth?
For me, because now I'm a student, so I don't have a good option, a better option enough to answer this question. But maybe in the future, I will do it for professional things, professional work stuff, or any academics too. Because as we graduated to senior high school, this senior high school, vocational high school, we would continue our next study level to a college. And I think a better college is not in this country, but is in abroad, because you can learn. You're not just learning the things you want to learn, but you also learn about their culture and you have to survive in the new environments and new people with which is have a different type of people than your country. So basically, maybe academic things would be preferred to me, but it not. But it wouldn't say I couldn't go to another country for just a leisure time or having a holiday, because sometimes giving yourself a holiday for a very busy world is just like a self reward, and you need this.
All right. So it means like you prefer to go to or abroad some country for academics or professional things,
Yeah,
because in this world you don't have any times for like leisure.
yeah, that's it.
So okay, that's amazing. Then uh, how do you handle the culture shock when you are in a completely different environment?
Firstly, before you go to another country or even another continent, firstly you need to understand the language, because that's the way you can communicate with the people. If the people couldn't understand your language, how can you ask them if you are if you don't know what to do?
Yes.
Like when you are in the station and you don't know how to buy a ticket for a train, you might want to ask
Someone.
you might want to ask someone, but if you don't know language, how could you do that? Because so that's why first thing you have to do before you travel abroad is learning the language. It's not enough just English language, because most of people, especially in in Asia, in Mid Asia, and also in Middle East, they don't understand English enough, because in their perspective, lots of people comes to their country before they have learned their language before arrived. So that's why and also they are keeps their culture safe, because if they are talking in English too much, that might they might forgotten their language
Their
first,
language.
the first language, and that will ruin their cultures. So that's why they're starting to understand the language first. And for the native, you might want to learn their language, because you are now a strangers, and you have to respect the people comes before you. That's for me.
Oh, yes. So it means like for the first thing that you have to learn
Yeah,
when you want to go to some or new country,
yeah,
that for the first is you need to learn their languages first.
yeah.
So
Okay.
I agree with you because when someone abroad to the new country or going to the new place, but you don't really understand what they say, and you you can talk with them, you cannot ask something that important to you. So better when you want to go or abroad outside this country, you need to learn first. You need to learn their language. So, what, in your opinion, what is the biggest challenge of living away your home?
The biggest challenge is I don't know who are the people around me. So because everywhere you're going, you might be surrounded by all the people of the places. Like, it's not just talking about traveling abroad. Even if you're traveling domestically in your country, when you arrive the place, you'll be surrounded by the people of the new city you've arrived. So the first thing you should do is keep calm and just do it by yourself, because you are now in another place with no one knows about you,
Hmm.
and you don't know anything about them. So basically, the first thing you should know is knowing about what they do and what they would act to do, because because the things you should know is when you arrive to the place, you must follow the rule of the places,
Yes.
because you are now not in your hometown, you are now in other people's hometown, and it's better for you to just following the rules, for even though you don't like it, because yeah, that's the place where they are born, and you are just a strangers there. And also, don't do something fool, like having some criminals,
Yes.
or doing anything bad. Like when you go to another country, they might have any forbidden things, like when you are in Japan, you cannot touch the cherry blossom
Hmm.
flowers, or when you are in Europe, when you greetings with people, sometimes the people are not open to you, and if you give them a bad face, or maybe a bad answer, they would think you are inappropriate strangers. So that's why
Oh, yeah.
first thing you should do is just stay calm and don't do anything fool. Just it.
All right.
What about you? What do you think?
In my opinion, like if you abroad to some new country, that you have to learn first that their cultures over there, because you don't know what they usually do in or their activity. And uh, there are some like traditional, how to say,
But
um,
traditional habits or culture.
traditional cultures.
Oh.
Yes, because uh, you don't know their traditional cultures, like in, I forgot, maybe in Africa there is some tribe that if you go there and how can I say that, uh, the leader tribe of the
Oh,
tribe.
yeah, I know.
So when the leader tribe wanna doing something that you don't like it, but at the same time you have to do it because uh, that is that's their place. And then maybe that's for me. So the next is, if you get lost in a city with no internet access, what would you be first move to find your way back?
To find my way back in a country where I don't have any internet access, firstly ensure that it's really don't have internet access, because usually when you are traveling abroad, the data you brought to your country isn't fit enough to their country, because you are now in a different wave of infrared wave. So firstly started I would start it to just search a free public Wi-Fi to for me to use to get an internet, so I could go back to my place or my homestay safely. But if the place where I stand there are not aren't really have an internet access, like you got no Wi-Fi's there, or any, or maybe your data isn't well enough to do some calls or even for opening maps, I would just use my tuition to search any people and would ask them to the closest place I know, because if you are asking maybe your homestay, they might know it and they also might don't know it. So firstly you just need to ask where the closest place you could recognize. For example, the closest place you could recognize in Paris is like the Eiffel Tower,
Oh
but
yes,
you're
yes, I know.
not staying at the Eiffel Tower, right? You're not staying at the Eiffel Tower, but maybe once you ask them where's the Eiffel Tower, when you go there, and you meet another people again, you might ask them, and they maybe know where do you stay at. Perhaps they give you some good answer.
Okay. So, like what you say before, for the first thing that you will do is find some free internet access, right?
Yeah.
So, as we know, uh, some place, uh, those of some place don't have any secure internet access that may be dangerous to you. How about? What do
How
you think?
about it? Yeah. Firstly, before I use those insecure internet, I would secure my device first, because even though the internet are free, we know that any hackers could take over your devices by just connecting to the internet. So firstly, before you connect to the internet, ensure that you are in the secure time to use those internet, because sometimes those internets are faked by the hackers to harm your device. So but once you secure your devices, they would just have an access to what are you doing, not the access about what's your private information or your privacy or anything. But still, those insecure internets are now being the concern of most of people traveling around the world. Not even traveling around the world, but also traveling domestic, because they need an internet, but they don't have an internet. Once they given an internet, that was an insecure internet that we don't know what's inside of it. So the first thing we should do is just so the thing we can do over there is just paying attention and be careful. That's that.
Right? Maybe to the next questions, like, um, what is the cultural habit from your home country that you think might surprise people outside?
I think it's the variety of our culture across the island of Indonesia. As you know, Indonesia right now is the biggest island country, and we have the biggest island in the Asia. And we have and in each places in Indonesia, each province, each cities have their own cultures. Like we have different cultures between Sumatra and Sulawesi, and also Borneo, Java. They have different cultures. Furthermore, the the native also like one of our islands in Bali.
Yeah.
It have the most native and the most often to be visited, and that's what makes that what makes strangers think that Indonesia is a good country, because every time they change places, like to this city to another city, it has different cultures and it has a different perspective about their life. Like in Java, they have their own what their own race and their own clan, like Java clan from Jogja, or maybe
Oh,
another Java clan from Surabaya,
it's
and
different. Yeah.
it has the different cultures also. Also, we are
Even they say.
yeah. Also, we have a lot of language, but for just a developed country, for a developed country has a lot of language that surprise all the natives outside, because they asking about how do we communicate each other in different places. So, and they are what confuses why do we know a lot of languages from another city but still can communicate properly in Indonesian language, in bahasa, because sometimes the Western people are just able to speak English, for even though they are close with another country, like America is close to Mexico, and Mexico is close to another country that use Portuguese language, but they aren't able to use those language because they felt hard to learn it. But for Indonesian people, once they learn their own languages, their own hometown language, like me, I learned about Bataknis and also learning about other hometown language like Javanese or maybe
Sundanese.
Sundanese. Yeah, I can also speak in Indonesian properly. That what makes people wondering about us, and have and admire our culture. Also, even though separated with the islands, with the lots of islands, we are still a united nation, a united nations. We are not a United States, but we are a united country. So we don't have any states that stand independently. Like in America or Malaysia, they are a United States country, so they have so each province has the full control
Your
of their
country.
places of their area.
Yes.
So that what makes Indonesia is admired by any people outside, because for even though we separated, we are still in one thing, in one heart. And especially there are some slogan like rakyat tolong rakyat. The people helps other people.
People.
Yeah. And it also fits with our slug in our Garuda emblem,
Yes.
like Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. For any difference, we are still united. That's it.
All right. So, as we know, the best things if we in another country is like make a new friends, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
So, what is the best way to make new friends or with new people outside with the different backgrounds?
Start a conversation and talk about their culture first,
So,
because
like we sharing
yeah, sharing
our
culture shares,
yes.
because they also admire, as we admire about their cultures, they are also admirers to our cultures. So
Yes.
basically uh, we are all wants to know about any cultures abroad. So it's just the way you explain them about your cultures to make them more admirers to your countries. And it's also a good way to have some conversation, to open the conversation, like you're opening that by asking some cultures in the new country or new continent, to increase your understanding about their country, and they would ask you about your country and your cultures, and you can continue the conversation, and by that way you can have a friends abroad. That's it.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Then to the next question is, what do you think living overseas will change your personality in a good way or even the bad way? What do you think?
Every country has their own good thing and bad thing. So it's just the way you understand their cultures. Because sometimes people of the country thinks that something is bad but for us it was a good thing. So it's just your perspective of what is bad thing and what is the good thing. Any people of this country any people of this world have a different perspective of something bad and
Some
good.
yes,
Like, as we know, smoking is bad, right? But in
yes,
some country it's not just bad, it's worst thing ever.
yes, yes. I know.
But we are still allowed to do smoking in this country. But if you bring your habits of smoking to another country, you can get a really
But
bad trouble, or even you can be arrested, because some of them are really harmed to smoking.
smoking,
Yeah, something like that. So it's just the way you see something bad or something good. If it is good for you and the people around you in the other country would accept that thing, you might do it. You can do it. But if they cannot accept it, for even though you think that is a good thing you can do, you might want to don't do it for any single time, because that would harm the people of the people around you, and you would have a different image, a bad image to the people of that places. Thank you. That's it.
All right. So that, like you said before, if you want to go to the or go outside or abroad to the another country, you're not only going for like a holiday or some vacation.
Yeah.
You will go on for academics
Yeah.
or education. So
I have.
yes,
I have. I have.
uh, how do you prepare yourself for if you got disagreed with your classmate during a group project in multicultural se- classroom?
Some differences is uh, is solved by having a great communication, because you might have a different perspective of something, because you might think that something is don't fit enough, because you have a different perspective of it. So basically the first thing I should know is what are their perspective, so they couldn't agree with something that I agreed with that, and those perspective would open my mind so I could understand more why do they act like that, and why didn't they agree with those things. And from there we can have communication, so we could search any better alternative, so we can get a better things, so we can agree together. That's it.
All right, that's an interesting perspective.
So suggestion for me, the suggestion for studying abroad, going abroad, is firstly learn about their language. Also, if you want more, learn about their cultures, because traveling abroad isn't just for fun or for your needs, but it's also about how do you respect the people that stay over there before you. That's it.
So for my suggestion is like Andro said is maybe is that's like the habits you
Yeah.
need to learn before you go abroad.
Yeah.
So for me, like you have to prepare yourself, your uh, your material. For the important one is your passport, and it's very important. If you lost it, you have to keep it safely. So maybe that's all for us.
Yeah, that's all from us. And thank you very much for listening us from the beginning of the video. And see you in another time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.